What's up, everybody? Today I just want to make a quick video, even though my videos really never end up really being quick. Gotta excuse me, I'm not all clean shaven and fresh today, but today I wanted to talk about fear. I wanted to talk about irrational fear opposed to normal fear. What somebody with agoraphobia, panic disorder, anxiety disorder might feel, um, opposed to somebody without any of these mental conditions. What is normal, what is not. And I'd like to use one of my main triggers, one of my biggest triggers, and probably the biggest trigger that I have. It's anticipation anxiety. Anticipation anxiety destroys me. For instance, if I have a doctor's appointment 7 days from today, guess what's on my mind for 7 days? It's the fear of going to my doctor. It's not like a thing that I'm going to do tomorrow night that I have an option to back out of. A doctor's appointment for me is set in stone. I have to go. It's something I have to do. And when you put that label "have to," you really commit yourself. And commitment and anticipation anxiety are mortal enemies. Commitment, anticipation, anxiety mixed with agoraphobia and panic disorder are living hell. So that's a huge thing for me. So I'd like to see if I could get some input and give some input on what a rational fear would be for a person with agoraphobia, with panic disorder. Now, keeping in mind that a person with agoraphobia, a person with panic disorder, fears a lot of things. It doesn't make us weak at all. For years, I've been suffering from this disease pretty much my whole life. But it hit hard about 20 years ago. And I'm not going to go into that story because if you watch any of my videos, you pretty much know my story, and it's not that much different than yours. And fear is a psychological thing. It really is. Panic attacks are a psychological thing. Anxiety is a psychological thing. And I hate hearing it just as much as you do. I really do. Because unless you've had a panic attack, you don't know what it feels like and what kind of hell we're going through in our minds. You can't explain it. It's impossible to explain. Doctors don't understand unless they've had panic attacks. I mean, I know a lot of good therapists that recovered from agoraphobia, panic disorder, became therapists. I went to school. I got my associate's degree in psychology. And honestly, I didn't learn a damn thing in school because I've been living it so long. Everything I learned in school was dig in the past, dig in the past. It's always something from the past. And I'm a firm believer that, that could be true for a lot of people, and it could be totally opposite for some other people. But going back, because I stray off subject a lot, but going back to fear. Now, I'm going to say this right this time. Winston Churchill said, "There's nothing to fear but fear itself." But fear is scary. So I think fear is worth being scared of. But we have to pick and choose our battles as agoraphobics, as people with panic disorder, anxiety disorder, depression. We have to pick our battles. We can't wake up and be spontaneous like we could maybe at one point in our life. We can't get up and hit that road trip that we all want to do. I'd love to hop in the car right now and just drive to another state and just to see stuff. I've lost a lot of desire to see the outside world just because of the fear. And that's a rational fear to me because I have agoraphobia and panic disorder. If I'm somewhere that I can't get away and I have a panic attack, we all know what that's like. And it's a scary thing because, we probably had thousands, if not more, panic attacks in our life. But every single panic attack seems to be different. Everyone is always different somehow. I don't know how this happens. And you could be perfectly fine, and out of nowhere a panic attack will hit, and you know what it is. You've been there before. And to the person that doesn't have panic attacks, they would simply say, well, you've had this before, so what's the big deal? You know you're going to get through it. Don't tell somebody that's having a panic attack that. That's the worst thing to tell them. It is. It's the worst thing to tell them, because to us, it's brand new. It's a new experience. It's a new feeling. I think something happens psychologically in our brains that says this is not new. There's an alarm going off. So the fear of having a panic attack to a person with agoraphobia is a rational fear. Okay? This brings me to my next point of facing fears. Neil Armstrong, when he went to the moon, and I hope that's the guy that went to the moon, because I really don't know. I'm just throwing that out there. What do you think he was thinking when he was in that spaceship about to land on the moon? Do you think he was excited? Nah, he was probably scared. I'm gonna edit it, just because I don't know if kids watch this or not. But he was probably scared. He probably feared that. First person to ever step foot on the moon. That's got to be scary, right? I mean, there's no way it can't be scary. So, but you know what? He did it, and for the rest of the world's history, he's going to be the first man that ever walked on the moon. And again, if he's not the first one that walked on the moon, I'm sorry, okay? I don't have a history book right in front of me, and my specialty is not astronomy or NASA. It's just a point I'm trying to make, and now I'm going to have to Google it just because I want to know, but I'll do that later. But he was probably scared. But for now, he's going to live in infamy of the first man that ever walked on the moon. He faced his fear. He got through any kind of fear that he had, and he put that foot down and said, no, I'm not even going to try to quote what he said, one small step for man, one large leap for mankind, which historically he said it backwards anyway, so I'm right either way, so But he was scared to do that, but he did it, and it was a huge accomplishment for him, and the payoff was great. He's the first person to ever do something. It'd be in the history books forever, and that's an accomplishment. Now, if you have a goal, as an agoraphobic, as a person with panic disorder, your goal is to go to the grocery store. Then let me be the first to tell you that there is no difference in the goals that he set to get to that moon than the goals that you set to get to that grocery store or the mall or whatever your destination may be, whatever your goal may be. There's no difference. The first thing you got to do is never, ever, ever minimalize anything you do. And I'm speaking as agoraphobic, as a person with panic disorder. Never minimalize it, because that you're destroying your progress. So going back to going to the grocery store, there's preparation and getting tactical. There are repercussions. We know very well that we could be at the grocery store and have a panic attack right in the middle. And sometimes we can make it through, other times we can't. And there's a lot of us that can't even get to the grocery store. And that's terrible. I was one of those people at one point in my life that couldn't leave the house, couldn't look out the window. And I know what a living hell that is. And there's still times to this day to where I'll be out somewhere and I'll have a panic attack and I will have to cave in and leave. Like I said, I always like to have last laugh and panic and agoraphobia. For instance, I was at the grocery store a couple weeks ago. I took my mom up there to get a few things. I had to come out to the car. I was having the stupidest thing. I felt like my foot went numb. Go figure, right? Which it didn't, probably. Went out to the car, did my little, put on music, went through about 20 different stations, messed around with my phone a little bit, did whatever I could to distract myself from the panic attack I was having. I ended up dropping my mom off. Luckily, she lives close to me, so I dropped her off, came back home, and I just felt devastated because I failed. In my mind, I failed, and I say never minimalize, but I'll use the word fail when it comes to me because I tend to be pretty hard on myself when it comes to that kind of stuff. So later on that night, I went to the store. I didn't get anything, didn't need anything. I just went to the store, went to the back of the store, looked around, turned around and left, came back home. Because I would not have been able to sleep that night, knowing that I gave in and panic beat me that night. So I had to be able to say to myself when it was time to go to bed and go to sleep that yeah, I was able to go to the store, and I accomplished that, and I was okay, and I lived, and nothing catastrophic happened. My head didn't blow up. I didn't drop dead. I didn't pass out. So that's one way of beating your fears. If you have a goal to walk around the block, and you find that you can't get outside, that's just for that moment, okay? When you live like we do, we live minute by minute, thought by thought, feeling by feeling, and it's extremely hard to think that anything is going to be any different at any other given time, because the way we feel and the way our mind processes things it's kind of like a stamp. It's permanent. And when I don't feel good, or when I'm having a panic attack, it's kind of like, well, this is the way my life's going to be from now on. It's just like this. There's nothing I can do about it. And I think it's a key element to know that, it's cliche, but tomorrow's another day. And I've broken it down so, next hour is another hour. I'm going to be feeling different in an hour than I feel right now. And that for me works. And I'm pretty sure it works for other people too. And I really feel bad for people that have depression. I'm fortunate I do not have depression, but I do have severe panic disorder and agoraphobia. I've had depression before, and I don't wish that on anybody. And to all the people out there with depression, just keep on pushing through. But back to fear. Everybody fears something. People that have absolutely no kind of problems, they have fears. They're scared to do things, bungee jumping, jumping out of an airplane. Now, as agoraphobics, I don't think we'd ever do that. We probably wouldn't even make it there. Just, trying to bring a little light to the subject and a little bit of laughter, I guess. We have to set different kind of goals, and we have to do things a little bit differently. So to fear going to a grocery store is a rational fear. It's okay to fear it, because we know what can happen. We know that a panic attack can occur. We also know that it's happened before, and yes, we did make it through. That's the truth. I said before, the worst thing to do is for somebody to tell you, well, you've made it through before, you'll make it through again, because, like I said, everyone's different. But it really comes down to facing your fears. You got to psych yourself up a certain amount. You got to put enough fuel in the tank inside of here. You really gotta get a running start on everything you want to do. You gotta break through walls. I'm talking full speed. There's a lot of other words I want to use right now, but I'm trying to keep this one, PG. But there's a lot of other words that would express breaking down a barrier, because that's what fear is. Fear is a barrier. And if we look at that barrier as unstoppable, unbreakable, undefeatable, then we're defeated. Then we are the defeated ones. And I don't think we are. I've always said it, and I'll say it again. People like us with anxiety disorder, agoraphobia, we're blessed. We really are. We may not see it, but we are on another level of consciousness, a higher level of consciousness. We feel things, we notice things that the average person does not notice. And if that's not a gift, I don't know what it is. I heard a long time ago, I can't remember where I heard it, but don't consider yourself a victim of anxiety. Consider yourself a student of anxiety. And instead of fearing anxiety, ask anxiety, what is it going to show you today? What are you going to learn from anxiety today? Because we all have those teaser days to where we can go out and we'll have a great day. At the end of the day, we're like, wow, that, I didn't have any panic attacks. I got out and I accomplished everything I wanted to accomplish. I did everything I wanted to do. They're few and far between for a lot of us. And we tend to throw ourselves into denial because of that. It's like, wow, we did this, but then it never happened again. And that's where the negative self-talk immediately starts. When something goes good, we find it extremely hard to accept that because we're not used to things going good, right? Frankly, things usually don't go good for agoraphobics. They don't go good for people with high anxiety. It's not healthy to live with high anxiety. That's when you got to really sit down, you got to analyze, and you got to make a battle plan. Nothing's ever built without a blueprint. Nothing's ever achieved without a plan. So you got to wake up every day and you got to find a blueprint, a plan. You got to do something for yourself to figure out how you're going to cope with the day. What do you have to do today? What do you have to do tonight? For me, one of the biggest things that's always helped was having something to look forward to. I love wrestling. I'm a huge wrestling fan. So, Monday and Thursday nights, WWE's on. I could do anything Monday, because I know that I'm going to have a good night because wrestling's on. I started that years ago. That was my text. I'm not going to stop the video and repeat all that because of that, but yeah. Years ago I started that. I remember a show, Dark Angel, with Jessica Alba. It was my favorite show at the time. We're talking early 2000s. This was during some of the lowest points in my life where it's really hard for me to do anything, and I was pretty much a TV and weightlifting addict. And I wish I was kidding about that. The year and a half that I spent in my house, including I worked out 14 hours a day straight and watched TV the rest of the time. But the times I would have to go out to the store to get something to drink, and I have to laugh at it now because of how crazy and how we don't give ourselves enough pats on the back for where we've been to where we are today. And the reason that's so important to me is because if you forget where you come from, you're never going to make it to where you're going. If you forget how low you were, you'll never realize how high you are now. I know my accomplishments. I know how far I've came. Can't tell you exactly how I got there. There's certain things that have worked for me in the past that probably work for a lot of people. But you got to remember how low you were to realize where you're at now. And you may be in that position right now. You may be at the lowest point in your life. You may be at rock bottom right now as you're listening to me and thinking what I'm saying is just impossible. And that's okay. That is perfectly fine, because what I'm saying right now would have been complete BS to me 10, 15 years ago. If you would tell me, 15 years ago that I would be able to do everything that I do now, I would have said you're crazy. There's no way. And that's that. Positive actions must occur. I've said that in one of my other videos too. Positive actions must occur. Thoughts must occur. Plans must occur. There's a lot of things that have to happen for you to improve your life. I don't know them. So that was kind of you may think it was kind of like a useless statement for me to say that, but you do. You know them. The answer's already in you. You know what you have to do. You have the answer deep down inside, but the answer scares you. It scared me too. I am by no means recovered. I am by no means better. I am just more capable of doing more things. I know too many people that take life for granted, and so do you. Oh, geez, so do you. I have a lot of friends that, they could just get up and do whatever they want, whenever they want to do it. I envy people that put in 80 hours a week at work. I wish I was one of those people that could do that. I have to work odds and end jobs, and sometimes that doesn't even work out for me. And it's rough. And a lot of people that, don't have this affliction, that don't have agoraphobia and panic disorder, they don't know how good they got it. But we do. And, we want to be those people. I used to say years ago, if I could work, I'd get a job at McDonald's, I'll make you the best Big Mac you ever had. If I could work, and if I was capable of actually going out every day, 40 hours a week, and doing a job, I would be the best at it I could be. But that was not the plan for me. It just was not the plan for me. The plan for me was different. I'm figuring out that plan as I go. In my heart, my plan is to help people like me. My plan is to help people like you. We need to figure this out together because there's not a lot of awareness for people with agoraphobia and panic disorder. We lay in the shadows, ignored, laughed at by doctors and hospitals. I can't tell you how many times I've went to the emergency room for a panic attack and they blow you off because they know it's a panic attack. They don't care. They know you're not going to die. An emergency room is to keep you alive. They don't care of the quality of your life. And there's been a lot of times where I've gone to the ER and felt worse just because of the way they treated me. But I generally thought I was having a heart attack because of the chest pains or whatever. What are you supposed to do? And that's where the problem lies, I think, is there's not enough awareness. And the reason there's not enough awareness comes back to the point of this video. It's fear. Fear of stepping up and saying, I am agoraphobic. I have panic attacks. I have irrational thoughts of going places because a fight or flight scene is going to kick in my head and make me panic. And I have a fear of fainting. I have a fear of making myself look like a fool. I have a fear of passing out. I have a fear of dying. I have a fear of having a heart attack. That's a hard thing to say to people, especially people that don't understand. That's why we go unnoticed. That's why we go ignored. And I don't want to stray off point, but I really feel like this is an appropriate place for me to say this. People, and again, I'm going to say this. I say this every time I bring this point up. I don't want to offend anybody. That's not what I'm out to do. But Alcoholics Anonymous, Narcotics Anonymous, these people, look at these extravagant hotel settings they have for people that go to rehab because they couldn't keep a needle out of their arm because they like heroin. Or the people that abuse the medication that we need, Xanax, Ativan, Clozapine, all the medicines that we need just to function. These people that'll pop 3 of them and then drink a beer. I haven't had a beer in 15 years. Not because I don't want one, because I don't drink with my Xanax. I take 3 milligrams of Xanax a day. That's it. The doctors have been wanting to push me up for years, but I don't want to go up anymore because of what's going to happen. I'm going to build a tolerance to it, and then I'm just going to have a very strong addiction to a much worse withdrawal the day I can go off of it. I'm on 3 milligrams. It's going to be hard enough to get off. I don't want to go on anymore. But there's people out there that take 3 Xanax and down it with a shot of Fireball or beer. I see it. I'm a bouncer. I work in bars. It's sickening to me because this makes our medicine harder for us to get. They labeled it a Class A narcotic now. And it wasn't like that a couple years ago. And it just sucks that people take what we need and abuse it, making it harder for us to get. That's like us taking their beer, their drug, and making it harder for them to get. But in typical Mike fashion, I totally strayed off my point of the video. My point of the video was fear versus irrational fear. So let's try to get back to that before I stray off onto something else again. Okay, a lion attacking you. Is that a rational fear or irrational fear? Well, to me right now, in my living room, in the burbs, I ain't too worried about it. And now if I was in Africa, sitting in a Jeep in the middle of a tundra, yeah, that might be a pretty rational fear to have. But right now, I don't think any lions are just going to knock on my door and say, I'm going to eat you. It's not possible. Not going to happen. I'm going to use the grocery store again. Now, let's take it up a step. Let's go to Walmart. You guys know how I feel about Walmart. And I bet you feel the same exact way. Walmart, oh man, Walmart's torture, ain't it? Those lights, the openness. I heard a long time ago that Walmart actually increases the oxygen to put you kind of in a state of euphoria so you spend more money. But that's a conspiracy theory, and I'm not into that stuff. But anyway, let's say I have a goal to go to Walmart, and let's say another person that does not have agoraphobia or panic disorder has a goal of going to Walmart, they need to go get some. Let's say we need to go get the same thing. We need to go get some CDs, some blank CDs. That person's going to get in the car. They're going to go to Walmart. They're going to whine and cry about a parking spot. They're going to go in. They're going to walk back there. They might stray off, look at a couple other things, but they're going to get what they got. They're going to get it. They're going to go home, do whatever they want. Now me, I am going to say, how bad do I need these CDs? Do I really need them? And then I'm going to come to the conclusion, yes, I do. Okay, what do I have to do to get these CDs? I have to go to Walmart. Well, I kind of go to Radio Shack. Well, they're cheaper at Walmart. I'll spend the money. No, you're going to Walmart. It's part of the example. I got to do it. So I got to get in my vehicle. Now, luckily, I live in the city, so Walmart is 5 minutes from my house. Which I don't know is a good thing or a bad thing, but so I got to drive there, which is a hard drive. 5 minutes. That's 5 minutes to an agoraphobia is a half an hour. One of these days, I'm going to make up a different time chart for people with agoraphobia and panic disorder because we don't operate on the same time that a lot of other people do. But I got to go to Walmart. Am I going to whine and cry about a parking spot? Yeah, but for a different reason, because that walk from the car to the door, I'm going to probably be dizzy and the world's going to be shaking. I'm going to be going like this and I'm going to see Walmart people and that's going to freak me out. And it doesn't take much to throw an agoraphobic into a panic attack. It really doesn't. And Walmart people will do that to you. I have seen people trying on underwear over their pants in Walmart and I got lucky. I was fortunate enough. Come here. Let me show you the reason I live. This is one of the reasons. Say hi.
Hi.
I'll go away. Love you. You know, it wasn't enough to put me in a full-blown panic attack, but it was enough to really make me feel normal. And that felt good the first time. You know, when you feel good in Walmart, you know you got a good day going for you. But, so the parking spot. I got to walk to the store. I know I'm going to be feeling a little bit dizzy. And I'm going to have thoughts racing through my head, as you would, of going into a store that you dread going into. And, of course, they put the electronics aisle at the very back of the store. So instead of using the main aisles, like some people do, I'm going to go on a limb here and say all agoraphobics, all people with panic attacks, we do the zigzag method where we zigzag through the men's clothes and do the ladies' stuff, and we do all this stuff where we go between aisles, and we kind of get in like, we're like Navy SEALs when we get in there. We know the quickest route. We've mapped it out in our heads. We're not going to take the long scenic route and see all the stuff that we're not there for. We're going to get to the back of that store. We're going to try to get there faster than our agoraphobia and our panic attacks. We're going to try to beat it there. We're going to get to the electronics department before the panic attack does. But unfortunately, the panic attack is there already. It's waiting for us. It's with us. It's on our back. It's like a weight. And there's not much you can do about that. And there's been plenty of times where I've gone to Walmart or a store and got halfway through and thought, I don't need this that bad. I'll get another day. I walk out. And I don't look at that as a defeat. Because there's a lot of people that don't have panic attacks, don't have agoraphobia, and still can't stand Walmart. But I think, I speak for a lot of agoraphobics when I say the zigzag method, to where we'll cut down aisles to get to a different place quicker. You know, we might stay out of the bright lights, the most populated route. We might take the back way, per se. All right, we get what we need. We're not now. Now we're in the back of the store. All right, we are downrange. We are in the back of the store. The closest exit would be an emergency exit, which I'm not opposed to using. Never had to, fortunately. But a full-blown panic attack hits. You know, hot flash starts here all the way down. Dizzy, things spin. You go to grab something because you feel like you're going to fall. What do you do at that point? Well, they say breathe. Well, that's right. You got to breathe. Fix my hat. You got to breathe. That's the first thing to do, because if you stop breathing, you're going to have other problems. And then you think, well, I could run through that back door. But then you're going to have to answer to people. You know, you're going to have employees saying, sir, you can't come back here. You run out the emergency door, well, guess where that puts you? On the other side of the building to where your car is. You don't want to be there. Not during a panic attack. You don't want to have to walk around a store, or maybe you do, I don't know. But that, I'm telling you what's going on in my head. I don't, you know, and you know an alarm's going to go off. So our fear of getting attention during a panic attack, our fear of causing a disruption in the everyday lives of these Walmart people.
You got me, Brett.
And that really is the fear of getting noticed. And that goes back to what I said before of why we don't get the recognition we deserve, why we don't get the attention we deserve, why we don't get the help that we need, why so many of you right now are watching me from your home with blankets over your windows and haven't seen the sun in so long, is because not enough of us have stood up and said what's going on with us. People go all the time to the drug classes and they say, hi, I'm so-and-so, I'm alcoholic. They chose to be an alcoholic. Okay, bluntly. Hate me, I don't care. You chose to pick up a drink and drink it and continuously abuse it. We did not choose to become agoraphobics or have panic attacks. They chose us. So to be ashamed of something that we had nothing to do with is crazy. But unfortunately, it's part of the game. It's part of the panic. It's part of the agoraphobia. It's not want to be noticed. We think if we could live under the radar, that somehow this is just going to fade away. It's going to go away. Things are going to get better. But it's not. It's not. It's really not. I want to be the advocate, and I want you all to stand up with me and be the advocates of fear. I'm not asking for special lines at the store that move quicker. I'm not asking for that. I just want so many people, because my biggest thing was I always thought I was alone. I always thought I was alone, and I didn't know that people felt the same way that I felt. And then when I started to realize that, wow, this person has chest pains, wow, this person gets dizzy, this person, ooh, their fingers get tingly too. This person has chest pain all the time. I started realizing that there's people out there just like me. That this disorder that I couldn't fathom being real is real. And all the things that I feared were real. They're irrational fears. It helped. And there's so many people out there still, so many of us out there. And I use us very strongly because we are us. We are innocent bystanders of a disease, no different than any other disease out there. We were stricken by this. We did not do this to ourselves. So we need to speak up. We need to stand up as a group, as individuals, as people, as human beings that have lives to live. Life is precious, man. You can't let it go. You can't live the way you're living. I can't live the way I'm living. That's why I'm on here. I'm desperate, man. I'm a desperate man right now. I'm speaking you to help me, if that makes sense. And that's another thing that I always found, that, you know, helping others that have the same affliction as I have helps me, because I learn that I'm not alone. And in the process, they also learn that they're not alone, which helps them. So it's really it's a chain reaction of helping, paying it forward. That's what we need to do. So fear and rational fear. Here's the kicker. There's no difference. This whole video, this whole time you've been sitting here waiting for an answer, here's my answer. Your fear is your fear. If your fear is to walk to the end of your driveway, that's rational. If your fear is to get on an airplane, that's rational. If your fear is to be eaten alive by zombies, you're crazy. It's that simple. Maybe not so much. I don't know. Zombies might exist, but I'm not discriminating against zombies. I like zombies. But that's the plain simple answer. There's no difference between fear, normal fear, quote unquote, and irrational fear. Fear lies in the person that feels it. because your fear doesn't affect me. My fear doesn't affect you. If I'm scared to do something and I'm going somewhere with somebody, that fear is not rubbing off onto them. And if they're scared, they're probably scared for a different reason. So this whole video, this whole concept that I made and thought about for a long time of what's a rational fear opposed to an irrational fear, there is none. It just simply does not exist. A rational fear is a fear that you're afraid of. And that's the key. You have to deal with that. Just you. Unfortunately, just you. Just me. And we have to figure out ways, blueprints, plans to get around those fears, to accomplish the things that we want to accomplish. And it's not easy, it's not fun, and it's a living hell. I know this. But I want to let you know, from one agoraphobic, one person with panic disorder to another, there's no such thing as an irrational fear. If you're scared to go to the grocery store, that's okay. Don't deny yourself feelings. Don't minimize your problems, ever. Ever. Don't do that for anybody. Don't let anybody put you down. Don't let your boyfriend, your girlfriend, your family member, a friend, don't let them minimize your problems. If you say, I can't go there, I'm scared, don't let them say anything else, because you said enough. The correct reply should be, well, what can I do to help? It shouldn't be, oh, you're crazy, why are you scared to go to the grocery store? Gotta have a plan. And I can't tell you that plan. I can give you my suggestions, which I've been doing throughout the video, and I'm going to do in up and coming videos. I plan on making a coping video of kind of an emergency go-to video to if you're out somewhere and you have really bad panic attacks. Some things you could do to get you in a safe place, whether that safe place be physical or mental, get you in a better place where you feel better. But with all my videos, my main message here is you're not alone. Okay? You're not alone. I remember I watched a video on YouTube. A gentleman, he tape recorded his panic attack. And from an outsider, you see a guy that looks like he just saw the worst thing a human being could see. Just experienced the worst pain a person could feel. But that's it. That's all you see. And he had a rational fear. I couldn't see it, and I couldn't understand it. It's not my fear. It's his fear, and he's entitled to his fear. You have to embrace your feelings. You have to accept your feelings. You have to love your feelings, because when you fear your feelings, it feeds it. When you feed fear, it feeds it. Yeah. I'm not doing a lot of editing on this video. I try to speak from the heart every time I get on this, because I know the people that are watching this really need to hear this from somebody that doesn't have a bunch of degrees on the wall. I'm not a know-it-all. I'm not going to claim to know it all. I don't know half of it. I know what I've been through, and I could share that with you. And I hope I could bring some kind of positivity, some kind of good message to you. And to some I will, and to some I won't. And that's just how life is. I can't help everybody. But if I could help one person with this video, then this was time well spent. Your fears are your fears. They're rational. You have every right to fear whatever it is you fear. But the main thing is to make a plan. Make a plan to make it a little less scary. If you got to go to the grocery store, pick your battle. Pick your time. A lot of times it's bad for us to wait and let the anticipation anxiety kick in. That's, like I said at the beginning of the video, anticipation anxiety is a killer. I mean, it will destroy your plans. Sometimes you have to be spontaneous. In being spontaneous, you're fooling your mind. If you know you have to go somewhere, fool yourself. Just go. If you have to turn around and come back, that's okay. No big deal. Because if you would have thought about it, you would have dwelled on it, you would have never made it out of the house. Now you have a fighting chance because you're out. That's basically the point I wanted to make in this video, was embrace your feelings. because they're yours. They're yours alone. You're the only one that understands them. You're the only one that can comprehend the fears that you have. Don't deny your fears. Don't deny yourself. You're cheating yourself. If you deny your fears, you're cheating yourself, because you're telling yourself you're wrong. You're not wrong. By no means are you wrong by having fears. Because just because a fear may be irrational to one person doesn't mean anything. Your fears are your fears. Some people are scared of spiders. I love spiders. Some people are scared of snakes. I love snakes. Does that make their fear wrong because I like something? No, it doesn't. So what we're doing is bringing that realm into our disability. And that's the message I wanted to convey today, is just embrace your feelings. Love yourself. Have understanding for yourself. Have empathy for yourself. Don't deny your feelings, and do the best you can, and you're not alone. Like always, believe in yourself and trust in God.